What is going on, everybody? Joshua here again with Reasonably Prepared, doing my best to help you get jump-started and up and running on your preparedness journey. Welcome today. I'm glad you're here. What are we doing here today? As part of preparedness, you want to have a preparedness plan, an overall plan. Well, today I want to focus in on having an evacuation plan and just give you three simple, maybe 3.5, always have a little nugget, 3.5 simple things you can do to get you started on an evacuation journey. Now, this isn't going to be in depth, but this is going to be bullet point by bullet point. Make sure you do these to formulate an effective evacuation plan. And this is going to be in the event of a hurricane, a tornado, fire, maybe even civil unrest. I mean, there's any number of events that could happen, flooding, rain, storm, anything you might need to evacuate, specifically for an evacuation plan. So here's my 3.5 bullet points on what you need to do in order, do these to get yourself ready in the event that you have to evacuate. Number one is you need to know where you're going. If you have not decided ahead of time where you are going, you will be just shooting in the dark. And so as you're formulating your plan, I want you to consider, number one, where is it we're going to go? Because don't just assume, well, I mean, I could go to Uncle Eddie's house, or we could go to Grandma so-and-so's house, Joe's house, or you know, we can just go, I know that there's this neat campsite. No. That won't work, because those people, if they don't know you're coming, what if they're in an emergency event as well? So you want to know where you're going and have more than one place to go. Which is going to mean you're going to want to have conversations with other people in your family who might be outside of your area. You want to make sure that you have contingencies. In other words, you know, our first choice is, you know, Grandma Edna's. But if that's not available and that's not possible, next one down is, you know, your brother-in-law, your sister, or some other family member. And the third one down is maybe there's an area, you know, that you know about, I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking outside the box here, but when we lived in Northern California, we drove all of the logging roads and all of the back roads and knew where all of the actual campsites were in case we needed to do like a fast evacuate to like maybe a camping area. So, you know, I hook up to my camper, we've got our stuff, and we can roll, and we can go do that as well as another alternative. So you want to make sure you know where you're going, and the people on the other end know that you'll be coming, which is going to require you to have conversation with them about an emergency preparedness plan, specifically an evacuation plan, and offer yourself to your family members who might, if my family members who live in Houston experience a hurricane, they know they can depend on coming to my place that's unaffected. So long as they've got an effective plan, they know where they're going to go. They're going to come here, and we're going to help take care of them because we're ready to receive them. So this is a two-way street. Make sure you know where you're going, and make sure those people know that they're going there and that they're ready for you, or that if they're evacuating to you, you're ready for them, and you've formed that understanding. So number one, know where you are going. Don't just assume in time of crisis. Okay, so number two is going to be know your area. So yes, you've chosen where you're going to go. You have worked that out with family members. You've worked that out with friends. You have worked out, you know where you're going. Number two is going to be know your area. And this is what I mean by know your area. Number one, buy a local map of your area. Like this bag here, I keep in my truck at all times, or on me. It's my everyday bag, but I got this one on Amazon for like $5 or $6. This is a map of my immediate area. And then also in my truck, I keep an atlas, like an up-to-date large atlas for the general area at large. And what we'll do is, we'll look at the map and know how to orient ourselves north, south, east, and west relative to what our city looks like. But another small tip that my wife did, that she tells other people to do and that she did herself, was make a special concerted effort to not use GPS or your phone. Don't do it. Learn where everything is analog, not through that stinking phone. These are going to tell you what roads, back roads you can take, and formulate multiple evacuation routes, because the better you know your area, just locked in, not being dependent on the digital medium of the phone or the GPS or things like that. If you know your area well, then you can chart out a course and have multiple evacuation routes and multiple what we call muster points. And that's going to be if you know where you're going. Let's say an emergency hits. This happened to my boss in Northern California where fire came through. He actually lost his home. Had to evacuate his home, but while he was in his home trying to grab everything, his wife was out in town and they weren't able to meet up. They didn't know where they were going, and they drilled it into me. Make sure that you have a couple of different places that you know you're going that are muster points, that in the event of emergency, you know that we're going to either meet up here or here together. And that way, if communications are knocked out, phones aren't working, you at least know you have planned ahead of time where you're going, what your evacuation routes are going to be. And if you know the area, you know how to get to them without depending on digital medium and without depending on the satellites or the phone or things like that, because those get knocked out and they're fickle. During emergencies, we know that they're not 100% reliable. So number 2 is going to be make sure that you spend time knowing your immediate area, knowing how to get into it, knowing how to get multiple routes out, and having more than one, maybe 2, maybe 3 muster points for your family, so that if you're one area and your wife is at the store in another, if an emergency happens, you know we're going here and then we'll evacuate. Okay, so this is not the super in-depth, but that's number 2, is know your area, know how to get in and out in multiple ways, and know where you're having a muster point before you go to where it is you're going to go. Now we're on to number 3. And number 3 is going to be have the things that are important and that you need staged ahead of time. When there's no problems, have them accessible and portable and ready to go. If you go in the link below, we have what we call our ICE-box checklist, or in case of emergency box, ICE box checklist. And we keep that box in a central location in our home, 1 or 2, with a few other things to make sure that in the event that we need to evacuate, we can literally grab and go. We're not thinking through, what do we need to do this? Do we need to do that? I need to grab this. I need to grab that. You want to make sure you've got water, food, some medical supplies if you need them. You want to make sure you've got some sensitive documents. You want to make sure you've got, water, food, medical, sensitive documents. Make sure you got a little bit of cash, and you can put all of these things in a central location. Most of your stuff in your home is insured, so you can literally just, without thinking, grab, go, wrangle the kids and go and evacuate and get to your muster point or get to where it is you're going. So number 3 is going to be to make sure you have pertinent, important, what you need items staged ahead of time in the event that you have to evacuate. And just remember, human life is so much more important than things. Make sure we're saving our family members and human life over stuff. Okay, and here on to my little point 5, just kind of, it all blends together. It's not one single point, but it works in tandem with all of them. That's going to be, don't forget about people with special needs, your pets, and you'll want to drill their plan. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're getting whatever you need for your pets. Are you going to leave them? Are you going to drop them off at somebody else's house? Are they coming with you in your car? Special needs, babies, children, older folks. You want to make sure you've planned out ahead of time how you're going to deal with that. And you're going to want to make sure that where you're going, knowing your area, having everything staged, that you do a drill. At school, we used to do fire drills, right? They do all kinds of crazy drills in public schools now because the threats are so incredible. But in your home, get your children involved, not with fear, not with paranoia. We used to make it a fun game, and each one of our kids had their own individual little ice bag that was color-coded. They had to pick out their own color, and there was a change of clothes in there, and there was some extra water, and a little extra food, and some toys, and some things like that that belonged to them. They got to pick it out and build it themselves. And then what you can do is every once in a while, you can say, fire, let's leave now, and you can do the pretend, okay, what are we doing? Grab your bag. Timmy, make sure you do this. Honey, did you get the thing? Yes, where's the list? And you can go down the list, and you can, do it once every 6 months. Do a drill, do a practice run. And that will help you to discern how heavy the things are. Will they fit in your trunk? Will they fit in the car? Will everybody fit with the pets? All at once in an emergency. Once again, You want to know where you're going. You want to know your area and have routes in and out of your area, and make sure that you've planned ahead of time with the people that you're going to be meeting up with, and that you have muster points in case you're separated and communication breaks down. Number 3, you're going to make sure you have those important things stashed and ready to go: water, food, medical, extra change of clothes, pertinent documents and information, a little bit of cash. That way you just have it just in case. And that's for everybody in the family. And then you're going to make sure you're considering special needs, babies, pets, and you're drilling this plan to make sure it works. But how about you guys? That was just a simple breakdown. How can we help other people? Leave it in the comments. What would you add to this? What would you take away with this? What would you change? I'm learning like anybody else. This is just to get you a basic framework, a basic idea, get your creative juices flowing on what's best for you in your area as an evacuation plan. If you live in a big city, it's going to be different than if you're in a small town. So leave in the comments below to help people out. What might you add to this, take away from this, or rearrange to help all of us, including myself, form a better, more effective evacuation plan in the event of a catastrophic emergency where we need to evacuate. That's going to be it for today. Thank you as always. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Once again, be blessed. And remember, just because you're prepared does not mean you are paranoid. See you next time.